All right. Well, it's great to see you all again. I think most of or all of you got a chance to watch the Julian Baker video that I posted for the sort of get ready assignment kind of thing. And some of you put some responses in there. There was another very negative video about biotensegrity on YouTube. Um, from a guy in the Alexandria community, Patrick Johnson, a few years ago. And we talked to him. We responded to him. We said, I think you've got this wrong. He had some direct exchanges with a number of us, with Steve, and he took his video down. Um, he realized that he was in the wrong. Um, and that was, people can change, people can grow, people can learn. Um, and so you always have that held open, but we can learn a lot about how the message goes wrong and where it goes wrong when by finding this kind of thing. Um, and I myself check YouTube, for example, pretty regularly, and also X or Twitter because I still have an account there just to keep tabs on where the word bubbles up and how it bubbles up and who's using it and how they're using it. And you guys are consciously making taking a step here to be a thought leader in this field. And you know, that will mean something to you, whatever that is. And then you're going to be confronted at some point from some direction, I think, with misunderstandings. And then in my experience, it's kind of easier to kind of have a plan in place, a default plan or something, so that you're not caught off guard when that happens. So becoming aware of the misunderstandings can be very useful. It's a way to find a new learning point sometimes, for yourself. Um, so especially in the fascia focused community, you'll see people who are putting themselves forward as if they were experts on the subject, and then you only have to listen for a few minutes to discover that not so much. So, um, there's more and more interest all the time about biotensegrity. You'll see that what I do a lot of the time on YouTube is I'll write to somebody and say, great that you've discovered biotensegrity. Um, if you're interested, you can look at the Biotensegrity Archive YouTube channel and check out some of the tea parties. That's some kind of a comment like that. That's more about, as Julia Blau said on the tea party that we had with them, calling them in, not calling them out. Or as somebody else, one of our lawyers said at one point, you'd rather have the camels inside the tent pissing out than outside of the tent pissing in. So different metaphors to enjoy on that. But the thing is, science needs disagreement. Science doesn't move forward without disagreement. And you guys are working with human bodies. You guys are biologists by some definitions. You guys are scientists. You're accruing data, you're making decisions, you're working with biological organisms, you're working with physics. To some extent, you are physicists, you are biologists, you are scientists. And I would encourage you to think about what that means to you, you know. Um, it kind of took me a long time to wake up and think, I think I'm a scientist now. That's weird. I never self-defined that way. But if you look at what you're doing and how you're spending your time and you look at the definitions, I think you'll find that that's where you are. And science, in order to move forward, needs disagreement. But disagreement doesn't have to be fighting. And I think that that's where we get stuck. People will hear Steve and Jean-Claude Gimberteau on that tea party where, Jean-Claude is going, no, no, Stephen, no. And they're going back and forth. These are old friends, okay? But they are comfortable working something out together. And they're comfortable doing it in front of people. I mean, that's really kind of amazing. And so it's not to be afraid. It's not like you're picking a fight with somebody if you do it right. And if you're about the science and they're about the science, all will be well. If they're in a more emotional place with their argument, the way Julian Baker kind of is, and it doesn't really make sense and it's not really founded on anything, and it's kind of there's straw man things, there are lots of contradictions and all kinds of things, then it's not going to happen with everybody. But if you find a reasonable person, it can often be an opening to a wonderful new, future member of the community that's got a different set of perspectives to add to our group. um I have, some of you already know, but I wrote a book with my sister and sisters-in-law called The Soft Answer, Verbal Tai Chi for Sociable Self-Defense. Um, the physio group uses it because if you're presenting on biotensegrity, at some point somebody's going to call you a nut. Right at the beginning of that video, Julian Baker says it's kind of a cult. That's an ad hominem attack. And you're all going to, if you don't already have it, we're going to make accessible a digital copy of that book for all of you to have. If it's useful, great. If it's not, you can just ignore it. um, and the other thing I wanted to talk about was just encouraging collaboration and out of class work that we already started to touch on. Mary has some ideas for something she wanted to do. Do you want to mention it, Mary, or do you want to think about it more first?
No, I could mention it. I don't know if now is the best time, but
Yeah. I
yeah.
mean, if you don't mind, because I think it's a good example of the kind of potential that is here. We have our organized class meetings and our one-on-one sessions, but you've also got each other as a learning pod. This is a great resource.
So I have been working for some time now on a way to practice tensioning the fascia, or I don't know, installing comfortable pre-stress, or I don't know exactly what to call it. But I kind of happened onto it by accident. I've been teaching it to people experimentally and getting some very interesting and useful feedback. And so I thought I could possibly engage some of you, and a couple of you have, commented back that you'd be interested. So it would involve setting up some time outside of class on Zoom, I get on Zoom to meet one or two times together. I mean, depends on who's interested. Right now, there's two people. I could meet with those two people twice, maybe, or if that doesn't work out time-wise, I could meet with somebody else. one-on-one. I mean, I'm really quite open, and it is just for me to teach you, share with you what I've been doing, and then get your feedback later on as to how that what your experience with it is. So, and
Great.
I guess I'll have some kind of sign-up sheet, or I don't know, something in the sutra conversation, this whatever discussion, wherever that is. So
Can I make a request? And
please,
that is for people who are organizing these meetings, and it sounds fabulous, Mary. I don't remember if I responded or not. To put those invitations in the general discussion group,
Yeah.
because that space is where people can go to. The ones that are specific to the different seminars, we're going to start to forget which was in which. So I've set it up that way with the discussion space in the seminars. So if it's related to the seminar, the comments will go there because it's close to the resource material, but general discussions can go in the general discussion space. You can think of that as a place that's a less specific overall catching bowl for the discussions that we're having. Okay, thank you.
thanks. Yeah.
So we're going to go into open exchange mode in a second. Um, some of you responded to the pre-stress question already, and thank you for doing that. And I think the issue of pre-stress and misunderstandings around it relates very much to what Julian Baker was talking about because he's getting the tension thing all confused. And, that can prompt us to think, okay, what was my idea before about this? And what did I need to make a shift in my awareness in order to get more accuracy, with the issue, that kind of thing. So, um, and what are you going to do when someone gets it wrong? um, and I know that Jason put a link to the horse discussion that was I don't know when it was, a week ago or so. Um, and that was an interesting, what came out in terms of who understood what about biotensgrity was interesting there as well.